Like me, I may have been through so many challenges, but I would always listen to my inner thoughts and always analyze what is happening around me. And that's something they should do as well, because there's only yourself that can push yourself to do what's right for you and dream big and always follow your heart.
Lastly, our Lazada question. As we're easing into lighter COVID restrictions, what is the greatest learning that you have taken away from the switch of our lives during this pandemic?
Sorry, can you repeat that again, sir?
As we're easing into lighter COVID restrictions, what is the greatest learning that you have taken away from the switch of our lives during this pandemic?
It would be to always connect with the people that's close to you, that's always, there to support you mentally and emotionally. Always cherish that, because that is something that you will always need for the rest of your life, regardless of the pandemic that has happened. Just always express gratitude, and that's something that we should practice on a daily basis.
Thank you so much, Jonah. That's Jonah Sweet from Aklan.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Don't tell the others what we're asked. Next, we have Albay, Julia Calleja Sobier. Hello, Julia. Okay, yes, you do.
Sorry, I'm a bit tall. Good afternoon, everyone.
Julia, when you're ready. In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Wow. I was born to a French father and a Filipina mother. I was born in France and raised in the Philippines. I've been so blessed because I've had the opportunity to travel and live abroad. I did my bachelor's in Abu Dhabi, and then I did my master's in China before I moved to London. I think I've led a very adventurous lifestyle. I've been really blessed to have done so on scholarship, and I'm just so grateful to be here.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
I am a very clumsy person, which I think is ironic because I work in stunts, and right now I am in a beauty pageant where you need to be poised and elegant. I think one of the funniest moments would have to be when I was playing soccer and I aimed for the goal, I missed the ball, fell on my rear area, and broke that area. Initially it was funny, but obviously it was a very painful experience, and I think as long as I can laugh about it, it's all cool in the end.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I was really inspired by the talk yesterday. I think it's important that we normalize conversations around women's health, which is tied to other things like women's sexuality and women's well-being more broadly. I think that by having this conversation, by celebrating my womanhood, by celebrating who I am as a woman, by normalizing these conversations, I'm contributing to the bigger conversation, the bigger picture. And I think that by being a role model, by being bold, by being brave, I'm inspiring others to do the same.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
My advice would be to believe in yourself. It's hard to do so. It can be incredibly challenging. But when you believe in yourself, when you believe that you're worthy of good things, when you believe that your family and your community should be elevated and uplifted, then you can achieve so many things. And if I can stand here today because I've bet on myself and I've believed in myself, I know that all the young girls out there can do so too.
Lastly, our Lazada question is, what do you think is the most important role of e-commerce platforms like Lazada during the time of the pandemic?
During the time of the pandemic, it was incredibly hard to access even basic things such as moon cups, sanitary napkins, for example, other basic necessities. E-commerce allows for us to, during tough times, have access to basic necessities and goods. It also uplifts small communities. It also uplifts different craftsmen, entrepreneurs, because they finally have a chance to export their products, not just to their own localized communities, but to bigger communities beyond that. So thank you, Lazada.
And thank you, Julia.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Next, we have from Baguio, Genesis Latuga.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Jen. Yes, I'm over here.
We're there.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Well, definitely. I am wearing an authentic Gadang attire, and I am proud to say that I came from a very rich culture. My roots is what makes me who I am today. That is why I am proud that as a child, my family, my ancestors told me to embrace this. That is why I am proudly to say that I am uniquely beautiful because of my roots, and I am proudly to present that to the Miss Universe Philippines.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, definitely sharing my experiences here in the Miss Universe is one of the things that I really treasure so much. The first time that I met Miss Aklan, I shared with her that this is my first national pageant. And I can proudly say that even though this is my first national, I wanted to show the people that embracing who I am, even though I have lots of things that I need to overcome, my insecurities, I came from the culture with being known less. I want to show them, and I actually showed her that these are heirloom beads.
Women's health and well-being are a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Well, I know that as a woman, I know the struggles that I face as well. And embracing who I am and empowering other people is one of the biggest things that I can offer to my community. Because as a part of the indigenous peoples, why my role or my biggest dream is to just touch a single heart of a girl, for her to dream big and to pursue her dreams. Because that is who I am and that is what I wanted to pursue.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
My advice is that, just embrace who you are. Just accept that we are all uniquely beautiful. We are made to be beautiful because God is always there with us. I myself has my own battles and demons to overcome, but I realize that this is who I am and this is what I'm made for. As long as I embrace who I am, I can support whatever I want in life.
For your Lazada question, how do you think a Miss Universe Philippines can remain to be inspirational in the time of a pandemic and as restrictions are gradually being lifted?
Well, during this time of the pandemic, I've overcome a lot and I've realized a lot of things. And this is where I self-reflect. Because of my sketchbook, to be honest, that I ordered from Lazada, I realized that it is where I put my heart into it. I use it as an escape way for me to pursue my passion, for me to release all the stresses that I am feeling. And I realized that there are much to life. There are more things that I can do, and that's what makes me happy. That therefore I am here, smiling in front of you.
Thank you so much, Genesis Latuga, Baguio. Next, we have from Batanes, Elsa Schumacher.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Elsa.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here.
So, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
I grew up in a very remote village in the Philippines called Batanes, and we didn't have Wi-Fi. And as a woman, I also grew up in the United States, and I've closed the gender gap by becoming one of a female pilot and also part of the military. And being able to be part of a male-dominant career makes me really happy.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
One of the funniest thing was I went to the Philippines by myself when I was only 16, and I told my friend to follow me, but I ended up getting lost in China, and so my friend decided not to come, and so yeah, I got lost in China for once.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Women's health and well-being is a major part of Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I always stand up for always take care of yourself before you take care of others. I think that your mental and physical health is very important in order for you to take care of those around you. So as a woman, let's help each other. Let's take good care of each other.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
I would say be a trailblazer. Create your own path. And don't follow others' path because that's what you think is cool. But do something that you think is best for you, and that will make you successful.
And our Lazada question is, what is one instance where a purchase you made on Lazada has influenced your life?
So a few months ago, I bought a chandelier. A chandelier is able to spread light into a room. So when my friend was very sad, I decided to buy him a chandelier for his home. And I felt really great inside because I was able to spread light in his dark home, in his dark path, his dark feelings. So definitely a chandelier made a difference to his life because he spread light.
Thank you so much, Elsa
Thank
Schumacher.
you so much.
Batanes. Next up, we have, from Benguet, Chantel Cruz.
Hi everyone. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Chantel.
Good afternoon.
Chantel, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Well, a childhood from now, I've been always grown up with parents whose values would be first before anything else. So I just remember myself describing myself as a person, as a little girl and a woman who has desire in her heart. Because since I have a desire in my heart, there's always perseverance, and desire always covers up strength as well. And I remember that if without desire, there will never be great works. There will be never great accomplishments. Thank you.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Maybe if my parents doesn't know I'm doing something behind their backs, and you know what, you'd always think that you're doing something wrong, but to you, you're just having fun as a person. So, yeah,
Your parents are watching, I'm just kidding.
I know.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I mean, everyone has their own thing to do. Everyone has their own given work to share as well. So, you know, we have unique ideas that we have. And I think if we're given in a time, if you have a chance to, then I think it's better to really release that or share that to other people. Because if not, it's just a waste of time just keeping it in you.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
Well, socially aware and empowered. Always remember that each one has their own unique core in their hearts. and that you just have that kind of passion burning inside of you. I mean, it flames the passion inside of you, which you should actually share. And to everyone, everyone is unique, so I think it's best to really give your all.
From Lazada, the question is, what online service or technology can you suggest that will improve the lives of Filipino women?
Oh, I mean, Lazada itself is because like I remembered what we've done. We were asked if what certain thing that we bought that empowers us, and I remembered lipstick because it actually comes out the real me. Or since I'm a singer, it's just it brings out the best smile, the best voice I can speak, and the best way that I can really show everyone who I am.
Thank you, Chantel.
Thank you.
Chantel Cruz from Benguet.
Thank you.
Next up, we have from Bulacan, Idol May Cruz.
Hi everyone, my name is Adelmay Sanchez. I'm 24 and I am representing Bulacan.
Idol, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
It was a very big change for me. I moved to a different country altogether. The culture was so different from what I grew up in, but my roots stayed the same. I always remembered where I came from, which is Bulacan, and my grandparents were always in my mind and heart because they raised me. So
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Oh, anything that's got to do with traveling, honestly. I love traveling with my friends. Actually, fun fact, my mom didn't trust me enough, so she traveled with me and my friends when I was younger, and that was the best part, honestly. My mom is so cool like that, so it was a good experience for me. I had LOL moments with my mom and my friends.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Well, definitely to educate yourselves about your priorities as a woman. We are a big part of this society, and we are women after all. We raise children, so that's a big thing in and of itself. So definitely to go back to who you are, and one thing for sure is really know what your purpose is in life as a woman, and then everything else will follow.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
Start with self-love, definitely. That's something I learned from a very young age. I definitely went through a lot in terms of the changes in culture. So I lost my identity, actually, at a very young age. I didn't know who I was. Was I Filipino? Was I Irish? Or was I someone who was not part of anything? So self-love, everything started from then on. And since discovering, the priority of taking care of yourself, I began to engage in all of these opportunities that have come my way.
Your last question from Lazada. How do you define an inspiring woman in this modern day and age?
Someone who moves about in life with love.
Thank you so much, Bulacan. Idol May Sanchez.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I'd like to remind the judges that was Bulacan. There was just a mix-up in the script. Next up, we have from Bohol, Pauline Cucharo Amelings. Hello, Pauline.
Hello, good afternoon.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
The story of when my dad pulled me out of the water because I was so excited to swim in a deep pool for the first time, not knowing how to swim yet. And my dad saw me run to the slide and he already knew she's gonna drown. So he just went to the side of the pool and just waited for me to go down the slide and just pick me up by my t-shirt and put me on the side. But now, I'm a free diver.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
I had a funny experience earlier. I'm gonna share it. I was a little bit nervous, a little bit flatulent. So I went into my corner and I passed a little bit of gas. And then I went back to my chair and I could still smell it. So then I told everybody else, please put on your mask now. This is the most important time for you to wear your mask.
Well, at least you're healthy. I'm gonna lose you. Women's health and well-being is a major part of Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I would love to have more conversations with them, be part of that conversation too. And I'm so happy that we had a menstrual equity talk just a few days ago, yesterday apparently. And by having those conversations, by being included myself, I can bring people together with me so that they too can be part and ripple that effect out.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and empowered?
Read. Read the social issues. Be aware of what's going on around you, not just in your country, but in the world, because we are not just an island. We are a global community. So we have the power of the internet. Let's use it.
Lastly, for your Lazada question, what is one concrete action you think online brands can do to promote environment conservation?
One thing that brands can do is at least make the packaging more environmentally friendly, because we order so many things, we end up with so many packages and boxes and plastic. So if that at least already is more biodegradable, then we are already taking a step towards being more environmentally friendly.
Thank you very much, Bohol,
Thank you
Pauline,
too.
Pucharo, Amelis.
Thanks so much.
Next up, we have Cebu City, Chantal Elise Legaspi Schmidt.
Good day, everyone.
Hello, Chantal.
Hello. Where's Voltaire? Oh, there.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Something that puts a smile on our faces. Sadly, I did not have a very pleasant life. For many of you, you might not know, I grew up with depression. However, I have learned that despite my depression, despite my anxiety, my coping mechanism has always been laughter. And so, which is why you will always see me laughing and smiling and giggling even in the most inappropriate moments, because that is my coping mechanism, which is why I am laughing now. I might be nervous.
Speaking of laughing, what is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends, or things that make you LOL?
Funniest experience. That is a good question. My friends.
Lucky break. Oh, it's back.
Hello? Oh, there.
There.
Okay. So, to tell you the funniest part of myself, again, it is a bittersweet story. My best friend and I, we both bond over our struggle.
Oh, okay.
There
we're
we
back.
are. Okay. So, do you mind repeating the question while we're here?
Yes. Chantal, for the first time, what is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends, or things that make you LOL?
My friends and I, my best friend and I, we are the type, we turn everything into a fun experience. So we will literally come home from therapy together and we will laugh about our mental breakdowns, and that is what moves us forward, really. No moment is ever too dark when I am with my friend, because we, again, use laughter to light up the whole room. We bring each other together, and then we light up the room together.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
As a woman myself, I would like to tell the women who want to take a more active role in this to never yield. Because as a woman, you are often told that your health, your education, a lot of that is secondary. A lot of that is not prioritized in society. So as a woman, you must never back down. You must always take a stand when it comes to not only your health, but the health of those that are marginalized, the health of those who cannot speak up for themselves. That is what you must do to take up a stand in this fight for menstrual health. Thank you.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
Growing up, again, I was struggling with depression. And for me to understand the harsh realities of the world, I needed to allow myself to thrive and to heal on my own terms. So I told myself that regardless of what happens, regardless of how I feel, I was going to be an inspiration regardless. I was going to take a stand. I was going to be a woman of power. Thank you.
And for your Lazada question, as someone who is financially independent and a working student, what is one piece of advice you would give to anyone who is also working towards being financially independent?
I did not become financially independent out of pure determination. I became financially independent out of desperation. I was seeing my parents struggle during this pandemic as they own a restaurant, and I told myself I was not going to be a burden. I was not going to be something that held them back. I was going to be something that they could be proud of, that could support them, because that is what drives you to be independent. Your need to not need other people to complete you.
Thank you so much, Chantal Schmidt from Cebu City.
Thank you so much.
Keep smiling. Next, we have from Cebu Province, Lou Dominic Pigzon.
Good day, everyone. My name is Lou Dominic Pigzon, proudly representing Cebu Province.
Hi, Lou.
Hi, there you are, Sir V.
Lou, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
One thing that I'd like to share with you about my childhood is that I've grown as a Disney baby. I have a wide imagination which I think helps with me growing up. I like to perform on stage, be inspiration to kids, and that make them believe that anything, all of their dreams can come true with determination and the will to prove it.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Actually, my friends, my dear friends, they have the simplest ways of making me laugh. I think they can easily read me like an open book. One time we just went on a drive to the Bukid, or like the mountains, and we just see simple things on the road and they just comment on it, and it simply just makes me laugh. I appreciate the friendship that I have with them, and if they are watching this now, I just want to say thank you for all your love and support.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I think that it is important that we focus on ourselves, so by then we may be able to pay it forward to our fellow women. I think that empowerment should be something that is within ourselves, because it is a will that it is a will that can easily influence people, and something that can really change the community.
Lastly, your Lazada question is, if you could pick one product from your province to sell in Lazada, what would it be and why?
I believe it is a souvenir made out of banig. If everyone have seen my national costume, which I'm very proud of, it is 90%, 95% made of banig. And if there's a local product I'd like to showcase or show everyone, it would be something made out of that because it actually supports livelihood of most of the women in my province, which is something that also promotes culture and heritage, which we are very proud of.
Thank you very much, Cebu Province.
Thank you
Lou
so much.
Dominique Tixon. Next, we have Jean Nishi Orsena from Davao del Norte.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hello, Nishi. In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
I grew up in a very close-knit family, and my family really cultured us in love, and that is something that I carry with me every time I associate with someone or I meet someone new. I try to bring love in every aspect of their lives, and as I grew up in high school and even in college, even in work, I do apply love in everything that I do.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
I think it would be when I crashed into their birthday party. They did not expect it because I was with my parents at that time and they wanted me to go to my friend's birthday party. And then my father suddenly said that I should go over there to surprise them. And then when I came over there, they were all screaming in joy and we were all laughing. And I really loved that moment because we were all laughing and having fun.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
It is an innate part of us to really take care of our health because it impacts our performance in every day. It impacts how we associate ourselves and socialize with other people, and it impacts how we love ourselves. And so I would tell every young woman to really take care of their health so that it can start within themselves and it will exude outward, and then they can empower other women as well.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
We all want to make an impact in society, especially young women. We want to make our place, our mark in this life, in this community. And we can do that by being socially aware. And I would tell that young woman that she can look up the news, she can try to be more involved in the community, and with that, she can be a hero in her own way as she tries to make her mark.
Lastly, your Lazada question is, how do you think e-commerce can play a role in improving the quality of education here in the Philippines?
E-commerce makes things more convenient, and with that, it can also be applied to education because sometimes students have the problem of trying to look for things that they need in school. But with e-commerce, we can have a more accessible way of purchasing things, and that is how Lazada and other ways of e-commerce can really help education.
Thank you very much, Jean Nishi Orsena from Davao del Norte.
Thank you.
Next, we have from Davao del Sur, Jedaida Corinihona. Hello,
Hi,
Jedi.
maayong adlaw sa tanan.
Jedi, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Fun fact about me is I was born prematurely and I was told that I was not going to live another day. And I was told that I was not beautiful enough, that I was not enough. But I stand here defying each and every opinion, knowing that I'm being uniquely beautiful in every single way.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, one of my greatest assets, I believe, is my sense of humor. And I think it's one thing that would help me bag the crown this year. My friends could definitely attest that my humor does not humiliate them or anybody else, but simply put myself in a pedestal, which makes me relevant to the community. Thank you.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Over the past centuries, women are always been the vulnerable creature. And I think it's about time women should showcase who they are and embrace their womanhood, embrace their vulnerability. In this way, they'll use their emotions to not just conquer the world, but conquer the universe. Thank you.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
My advice for younger women is to never undermine their emotions, to never undermine their vulnerability. As for myself, I used to be so scared to embrace who I can be and who I am, what I'm feeling at the moment. So, my advice to younger women, in order to be socially aware, embrace who you are and never be afraid of what's coming ahead of them. Thank you.
And finally, for your Lazada question, what is one fashion item that you've bought on Lazada that you think has contributed to your journey to the crown?
I've always been considered to be a Wonder Woman, and not because I wonder all my things around. So, if there's one fashion item, that would be an organizer. And this way, I would be able to organize my clothing, my earrings, my shoes, and it's definitely helpful as I continue to journey to the universe.
Thank you very much, Judaida.
Thank you, everyone, at maayong adlaw sa tanan.
From Davao del Sur. Next up, we have Jewel Alexandria Palacad from Ilocos Sur. Hello, Jewel.
Hello, Sir Voltaire. Good afternoon, everyone.
Jewel, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Well, I was raised by farmers. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I was raised by farmers, and my childhood was very wonderful. It was colorful. It was colorful. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. But it is a childhood that I will never, ever forget. And I bring it with me everywhere I go. I am humbled by my childhood, by my experiences, and I'm living it up to this day. Thank you very much.
What is the funniest experience that you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Okay, the funniest thing I believe that I experienced with my friends was when I was in Boracay with my co-candidates. Actually, we were enjoying it and we were having the night of our lives, and it gives me a bliss every time I think about it. It makes me laugh because I have established a bond with the sisters in just a very short period of time, and I will forever cherish this moment. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I believe that I can encourage young women to take an active role in this advocacy by just speaking up and never be afraid to ask for help. We women, we were shut down for so many years, for so many generations, but this is the time that we should speak up, and we should not be scared to ask for help because we are strong, we are phenomenal, and we are empowered. Thank you.
Lastly, for your question from Lazada.
Oh, there's more.
Yes, but wait, there's more.
There's more. Okay.
What is one lesson you've learned while on the journey to the crown?
The one lesson that I've learned while I was on my journey is to always live the day as it is. Never rush anything. Just take it one step at a time, because in every day, a tomorrow is never promised. So you have to live your life to the fullest, do the best that you can, and be able to inspire other people in the best way that you will be able to. That would be all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jewel Alexandria Palacat from Ilocos Sur. Next up, we have Dorothy Hemelian from Iloilo City.
Good day, everyone.
Hello, Dorothy. I'm over here.
Okay. Hello.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
A childhood story of mine would have to be I grew up loving art, and I carried that with me as I grew up. I enrolled in School for the Arts, and because of that, I was able to publish my own book at the age of 16, which is a huge milestone in that young of an age. But upon entering college, I actually shifted to a nursing course, which is a science-related principle. So now I can say that I'm the best of both worlds. I'm the product of both art and science.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, it actually happened this past week. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but we actually switched swimsuits back when we were in Ilocos Sur. So that was a bit embarrassing because my swimsuit was too short and hers was too long, and we had to do a picture together. So imagine our embarrassment when taking a photo op together. It's funny, I'm sorry, in my part, but I could give you the context in a much more detailed conversation later on.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
You know what, as a student nurse, I've been taught that having an open discussion about it is actually the first step to breaking the stigmas or breaking the stereotypes or even just opening up a topic about it. That is what makes our health as women valuable. So having and engaging in talks, may it be in our daily lives or in events such as this one, would be a huge help in that matter.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
It is a duty, especially at this time of day. We have to be socially aware because we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We are not just living for our individualities, but we have to take part in what makes a society and what makes us a whole.
Lastly, if you had the power to use technology in helping improve the education here, what would that be?
Well, I would actually do what my current institution is doing right now, like doing modules, but I would actually involve my art-related principle in this. I would use animation as a learning tool because I know that children would learn more from this if we only merged entertainment with education. Imagine how successful our education system would be.
Thank you very much, Dorothy Milan, Iloilo City.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Vanessa and Kahelani Caro from Iloilo Province.
Hello,
Vanessa.
Good afternoon, Sir Voltaire. Good afternoon, everyone, to the Miss Universe Harna Sandu. Thank you for gracing us, and to all of the familiar faces this afternoon, it's a pleasure to meet all of you.
Vanessa, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
A story that happened during my childhood was when my father always took me to gymnastics. When I was 8 years old, I remember being very active in gymnastics, and this has molded me to become the woman that I am today through hard work, athleticism, and of course, never giving up until we get the best results.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
The things that make me LOL is when my friends truly tell me how I am to their personal self and how I portray myself as a happy person. You may see me right now as a very serious person who truly loves to join things and pursue my advocacies, but when my friends really make the point to show that I am actually a very funny person and I can be a very good friend to each and every one of them, that's when I LOL, because I like to take myself really seriously sometimes.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
One of my main advocacies is about women empowerment. And through women empowerment, it starts with proper mental health. And through my recent talk with Mind Nation, actually, we talked about how important it is to be self-aware. And by being self-aware, we're not only able to progress during these modern times, we're also able to impact through positive change and create a force amongst women that not only progresses us as a whole, but as an entire community.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
To become more socially aware means that we know what is going on in the world and that we know how to contribute our talents and all of our achievements to benefiting those that are less fortunate and underprivileged. To be socially aware is also knowing oneself and at the same time recognizing our talents and how we can give back to every single person that is truly in need. And by doing so, we'll not only be able to create a bigger impact, but elevate all communities worldwide.
Lastly, what is one thing you checked out on Lazada during the pandemic, and how has it helped you or your family at home?
The one thing that I checked out on Lazada during the pandemic is my daily planner. As someone who grew up in the States and eventually moved here to the Philippines, I've had to make sure to manage my time, and while pursuing my master's degree while going to work full-time, I've had to use that daily planner to ensure that my priorities were being met and that I could also spend time with my loved ones while achieving my goals consequently. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa Kahelani Caro from Iloilo Province.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Next up, we have Sonia Jane Tanyag from Laguna. That is not Sonia Jane Tanyag. That is Joshua Sorrentino. That's Sonia Jane.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sonia. Your question is, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Well, something that puts a smile on my face is my younger self. Before, I had fear with public speaking. I was bullied before. And as a young girl, it really impacted me a lot. So I'm really smiling because now I'm here and I'm conquering the universe.
Take a deep breath, Sonia.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, one thing that makes me LOL, I think, is karaoke. Me and my friends, we really love to sing, and some of my friends are not really, gifted with singing, but we all get along, and that's something that makes me smile, and I cherish that a lot.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Well, I believe, based on my experience before, I think young women should know their worth and that they are very empowered. We are all women, we are capable, we are resilient, and we should know that even though sometimes we encounter defeats, we must not be defeated.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
One advice I can give to her is that to be socially aware is that she should be mindful about her surroundings. Me, myself, before, I wasn't aware, and social media really helped a lot. But we all should know to fact check first because we know that there are fake news around us, and we should be able to know sites that are trustworthy so that we would have a world that is truthful and beautiful.
Lastly, how would you say your hobbies of painting and drawing make you uniquely beautiful?
I think we all have our individual selves, and we should celebrate that. So painting is something that makes me smile, and it's something that releases my stress. So I can say that I am uniquely beautiful because of my diversity and my talents as a woman.
Thank you very much, Sonia Jane Tanyag from Laguna.
Thank you.
We're halfway there with Sachi Chiesa from Lapu-Lapu City.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hello, Sachi.
Oh, hi.
Surprise. In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Actually, when you tell me to tell you a story that puts a smile on my face, my mind goes straight to a sad story because, for example, being part of a broken family and my parents having a divorce. But it puts a smile on my face because of how we went through that, how we recovered, and how we became stronger. I became an independent woman because I saw how dependent my mom was. So that puts a smile on my face.
What is the funniest experience that you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
There's so many. A lot of the time they call me Sashi Savage. I don't understand why. They say because I'm very blunt and upfront. The truth is I just being very nice and being very honest, and I think they like that trait in me, that I'm kind, but I also want to be real.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Women's health is very, very important. I actually went to med school for 3 years, and I realized that we don't focus enough on women. Especially in our textbooks in med school, it was based on male examples. We need female diagrams, female examples of all races and all types of women, all sizes of women. So not only is women's health important, but education of women's health is also very important, and that's what I like to focus on.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
The advice that I could give a young woman would be to be self-aware, to then be socially aware. So get to know yourself, reflect on who you are, and understand what is your purpose, what makes you happy as a person. Not what your parents want you to do, not what your friends or your society wants you to do, but what makes you happy. And then you can learn to be more social and contribute to your society.
Lastly, for your Lazada question, as a Miss Universe Philippines finalist, how do you show your uniquely beautiful and authentic self during a beauty contest like this?
Well, I show my uniquely beautiful self by being who I am, not exactly what is expected of a beauty queen. I took a path less traveled. For example, I told you that I went to med school, but I quit med school. I actually stopped college. I'm a college dropout, and that's very hard for Filipinos to hear. But I learned that you have these experiences and you can grow.
Thank you very much, Sashi Pieza from
Thank you so much.
Lapu-Lapu.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's Sashi. Next up, we have from Las Piñas, Isabel Christine Braza. Hello, Isabel.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Isabel, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Well, I've been an athlete and performer my whole life, and my characteristics as a person today actually came from my being a performer and athlete, and I carry those values and characteristics with me as I enter the Miss Universe Philippines pageant again.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, I think one of the funniest incidents I've experienced in my life is almost drowning in Siargao because of surfing. And surfing is something that's really close to my heart, and I shared a laugh with some of my closest friends when I almost got wiped out. Not almost, I did get wiped out in Siargao.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I want to tell everyone to be more aware of their health and to continue advocating for fitness and just being able to tell everyone how to take care of themselves. And I think I should be an example as to how to do that as a Miss Universe Philippines delegate.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
Being socially aware, we all have different ways of handling this. And social media nowadays, we should know how to separate what's real and from what's not. And we should always balance things out by weighing out the pros and cons. And I think this is a good way of being able to teach people to be more socially aware.
Lastly, as someone who currently owns and runs a beach hostel, what one piece of advice would you give to someone looking to also set up and run their own business?
Never give up on your dreams. My beach hostel was a pandemic baby. And even if it was something that wasn't really the best thing to do at the midst of the pandemic, I continued and believed in my dreams with my business partners. And lo and behold, I have Tanawan Hostel.
Thank you very much, Isabel Braza from Las Piñas.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.
Next up, Anjanette Hapor, Lucena. Hello, AJ.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone.
AJ, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Oh, since I was a child, I have been a dreamer. I wanted to do a lot of things in my life. I wanted to be a singer, a dancer, a performer. So when I was young, I really entered myself into different workshops and really honed my skills and talents to the best of my ability. And that is one thing that I'm very proud of.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
That is when I hang out with my cousins. My cousins are actually my barcadas or my closest friends, and we like to hang out. We like to go to different places. We like to eat and explore new places and just hang around and get to know what our hobbies are and enjoy it ourselves.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Women's health? Yes, women's health is really important, especially today, because we women are encountering different challenges in our lives. We want to always move, and we want to create a difference in our society. So it's important for us to take care of ourselves, to take care of our well-being, not just our physical, but also our mental health. And with that, we have to always remain positive and look out after ourselves.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
I believe it is important that we are always updated on what is happening around us. And having that awareness, also we need responsibility. We have to take action, not just being informed. And in this way, we can make a difference.
Lastly, if you had to sacrifice one thing in your life to win the crown, what would it be and why?
I believe I'm doing it now. I sacrificed my career that I've honed for 5 years just to be here in Miss Universe because I believe my life has a purpose. And here I am right now. I want to inspire women to do the things that they want to do and to live out their dreams because I believe in life you can be anything that you want to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anjanette Hapor from Lucena.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Michelle Marquez D. from Makati.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Michelle. Your question is, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Well, I grew up on a ranch, and that's really where I found my love for adrenaline-filled activities. So I love taking risks. I love being close to nature, and I love being around my family. So everything that I do comes from that because they are my inspiration. For everything I do, I take my grandmother, who passed away 5 years ago, as the epitome of my role model because I really want to achieve that kind of life when I grow up as well.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, a lot of you may not know, but I actually am an independent candidate this year. So recently, for one of the online challenges, I was reviewing my submission, and all of them didn't want me to submit that. So the next day, we actually went out of town and shot my swimsuit challenge. And even until now, we still laugh about that day because it's so nice to know that I have such a good support system, even though I don't have a camp behind me.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Well, as a woman, I feel like we are the pillars of humanity. Of course, we are tasked with the responsibility of making sure that we, increase the population. But I really advocate for women's health because not only does it help in our hygiene and also in our life, but it's also something that's so important for the people around us. Because if a woman is confident in herself, then all of that reflects in our aura, and everybody can feel that as well.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
I think the best thing for me to do is to show that through example. Because if I can carry myself well and I can show everybody around me that I can carry myself with elegance, with morals, and with a lot of values, such just like my family did and how they raised me to grow up as well, then I think through example, we can really show other people that we can be the best versions of ourselves as well.
And for your Lazada question, what is one thing that your parents have taught you that has guided you so far in this journey to the crown?
Well, my parents actually gave me all of the values that I needed in life. They taught me how to save, they taught me how to work for every single penny in life. And I think that is so important because a lot of you know that I grew up from privilege, a family of privilege. But my parents didn't want me to live like that. They wanted me to really know how to work for what I wanted. They want me to inspire others. My grandmother dedicated her life into helping others. And that's who I really want to strive to become. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michelle Marquez D. from Makati.
Thank you so much also.
Next up, we have Isabel Luce from Mandaue.
Mayong hapon.
Magandang hapon, Isabel.
Ay, hello sir.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Being raised in a family with single mothers, I actually been raised by my mother with my brother, but she's now married, and I'm so happy that I was raised in a humble family. Thank you.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
I'm actually an island girl and I love being in the ocean. And one thing that we usually do is we go out for a tuyom adventure or we eat sea urchin. And that is actually my favorite seafood and I hope you guys can try it too.
I want to try that. Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
As a woman, we should always take good care of ourselves. We should be aware of the things that is important, and that is our health. As they say, health is wealth, so we should invest our time in making ourselves better and making ourselves healthy. Thank you.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
As a active social media person, I believe that it is important that we read articles. At the same time, we are informed by news about what is happening around the world. And that is, I think, one of the few things that we can do or we can give to our society to be mentally and socially aware of what is going on about our country. Thank you.
Lastly, what does being uniquely beautiful mean to you?
Being uniquely beautiful is something that you have to appreciate yourself first. I am the shortest candidate in this pageant, and though people doubt me for being short, but I have proved to them that height doesn't really matter as long as you have that confidence and determination to be at your best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isabel Lucia from Mandaue.
Thank you po.
Next up, we have Annabelle McDonald from Misamis Oriental. Hello, Annabelle.
Hi, good afternoon.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Abandoned at the age of 15, impoverished, malnourished, but unbroken. My life looked like one big dead end, but I turned it into a doorway, and my mental fortitude was the key to unlocking it. And it is my sincere hope that I can be here and inspire others to do the same.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, I remember when I was spending time with the indigenous community of Misamis Oriental, I actually placed a necklace as a headdress, and all the kids laughed at me. However, I now know that what brings a smile to my face is regardless of where I put it, I should place it in my heart because we can be advocates for them, and at the same time, we can be more emboldened to inspire and aspire to be a Filipina woman.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
When we don't tell our stories, when we remain silent, all the stories will embolden the predator rather than the prey. And women should see themselves as individuals who are empowered, who are celestial in their limitless possibilities. And I think that as we take up space and assert our voices, we can not only help ourselves, but help others to do the same, regardless of who they are or where they come from.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
Start by looking within yourself. For me, I looked at how hard it was as a child to navigate the injustices that I faced throughout my life. I was alone in championing my own rights, and it is exactly this space that I've come from which encourages me to do more and to do better for abandoned children in the Philippines, for people who have been marginalized in society, for people whose voices have been convinced that they are not worth to be heard.
Lastly, from Lazada, if you were asked to identify one thing you love most about online shopping, what would it be and why?
The impact it has on the environment. We spend so much time and resources going to and fro from one shop to another, and so I love how we minimize our carbon impact when we shop with Lazada. And given that how we need to let the earth breathe and how we need to embolden and enlighten ourselves on this very dire issue, I think this is what I absolutely love about Lazada. Progress should be sustainable, and it should always be inclusive at the same time.
Thank you very much, Annabelle McDonald from Misamis Oriental.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Marilit Katipunan Iligan from Negros Oriental. Hello, Marilit.
Hello, Sir Voltaire. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
All right, so I have to be honest here. During my childhood, I wasn't that hardworking. In fact, I have low grades, but then one time there was this recognition that I didn't even know, and then my parents was also shocked. And then from that moment on, I believe in myself, and that pushes me even harder to be better and to become the best version of myself. And I think that is also one of the factors why I am here, that I always carry to be the best version of myself. Thank you.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Okay, so to be honest again, with Mommy Rose, one of the glam team in the Miss Universe Philippines. So she was the one who is retouching me with my makeup, and then she said to retouch my lipstick, to bite my lip, and instead I bit my tongue and I bit the tissue instead of my lips. So I think that is the funniest thing that happened to me that makes me LOL.
I think that happened to me earlier. Just kidding. Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
All right, first and foremost, we should be genuine with ourselves, because when we are genuine and we show to the world, to the universe rather, our authenticity, it comes the best versions of ourselves, and it comes there with our potential, and it comes there also with the causes that we are passionate about. So the movement follows, and then the success.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
The advice that I would give to a young woman to be more empowered and more socially aware is that stay informed, especially with the current issues that is happening right now. And with the use of social media, it is really important to stay updated and also filter out what is right and what is wrong.
Lastly, e-commerce continues to help uplift several micro and small enterprises. With this, if you were to start your own online business, what would it be and why?
Okay, so a fun fact, I am a self-driven entrepreneur. I was once an online seller, and right now I have my dream physical store come true. And the factor that really pushed me even harder to achieve this business that I have right now is to never give up, because life is not always smooth. There are always challenges along the way, but the important thing is you continue, you don't give up, and you will always try to achieve that goal, because at the end you can only help yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marilit Katipunan Iligan from Negros Oriental.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Jillian Catherine de Mesa from Nueva Vizcaya.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Jillian, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
So from childhood to now, actually, I'm an only child, and I lost my dad when I was just 6 years old. But losing my dad didn't discourage me from living a happy life, because I still have my mom and I have my friends who put a smile on my face that I never felt alone, because I have company and I have felt family with my friends as well. So having the experiences that I have with them makes me smile a lot. Thank you.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
I think the funniest things that I experience with my friends is that the simple joys, like just when we are together and when we bond and when we watch movies, those are the simple things that I enjoy, especially when we eat food that we really love. And I think that in this life, we need to be grateful and be more appreciative of the different things and the small things that we have in life. Thank you.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I think women should speak more, as I have heard from Ms. Hannah Harnaz during yesterday's press con during the Modest event. We should speak more and continuously talk about our advocacies and what we believe in life. Because if we will not talk, nothing could happen. And we should not learn to step back as long as we fight for what we believe in. Thank you.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
For a young woman, I believe that she should start surrounding herself with inspiring people and learn to research on the things that she believes in. Because education nowadays is really important, and we need to educate ourselves more so that we would learn many things that we need in this life. Thank you.
You mentioned that you were raised by your mother, tita, and lola.
Yeah.
And having such strong female figures in your life growing up, how would you say that this has helped shape you into the woman that you are today?
Yeah, so I believe that one of the things that my lola has been telling me is, ang problema, hindi yan pinoproblema, kundi sinusolusyonan. In order to translate, a problem is a problem, and you do not get discouraged by a problem, but you need to solve it. And with that, my womanhood today, encountering problems, I believe that I need to prepare myself and be more confident with who I am, so that I will not be agonizing the problem, but being confident here, standing in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jillian from Nova Vizcaya.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now she's walking away from us. Next up, we have from Palawan, Angelica Lopez.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Angelica.
Hello, good afternoon po, Sir Walter.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Oh, actually, I grew up introvert and I never really had the chance to socialize much to other people. But I had the courage to get out of my comfort zone. And now I am here talking to a lot of people in front of me and ready to share my story and inspire other people to do the same.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Oh, that will be when we tease each other about our physical appearances. Well, it might be small things, but sometimes, it brings happiness to all of us. And even those small moments, I always cherish it because I believe that my friends are my family as well. And at the end of the day, they are the only people who will give me genuine support and love.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I would like to set myself as an example to them. I would want to encourage them to be more courageous in taking actions particularly about their health. Because I believe that it's really important that we take good care of our bodies, because in that way we will be able to empower other people as well and uplift the lives of other people.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
I will probably advise her to educate herself more about the German issues that are happening around us. In this way, she will be able to uplift herself and empower others in her community and talk about the important things that are truly happening, the social issues that need solution. And with that, I believe that we can always make a difference in our community. Thank you.
Lastly, how can e-commerce be used as a platform for women empowerment?
May you repeat the question, sir?
How can e-commerce be used as a platform for women empowerment?
Well, for me, I believe that e-commerce is a great platform in helping the lives of the women in our society. And I believe that if we can utilize it well and further educate other people around them, then we will be able to uplift their lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angelica Lopez,
Thank you.
Palawan.
Thank you po.
Next up, we have Alyssa Georgia Felix, Pampanga.
Hi everyone, good afternoon.
Alyssa, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Well, when I was a young child, I wasn't really into pageants. I was quite boyish. I like to climb trees. I like to go and spend my time in the water under the sun and get as dark as I can. Looking back at it now, it makes me laugh because now that I am admiring to be a beauty queen, I am aiming to be a beauty queen, it makes me look back and wonder, why did I never think that I could make it? Why now? But it makes me laugh because now that I'm looking back at it,
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Oh, the closest thing that made me laugh with my friends was one time when we went out and we forgot where our keys were to go home. So we actually had to walk home, and then we found out that the keys were actually just in our pockets.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage young women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I think that young women should be more aware of what goes on with their bodies, so that they should be more open about asking questions as well in order to help them, and they should not be afraid to take a stand. If they need help, they should ask for it.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
For a young woman, I think it's really important that you check before you believe anything on social media, especially now during the pandemic that we rely on social media so much. So it's very important that you fact check things and make sure that you have the right information so that you can pass it on to other people and make sure that you give them the correct information. Thank you.
And lastly, if you were to add to cart one item to buy on Lazada to send to all Filipinos to help inspire them during this time, what would it be and why?
I think it would be vitamins. I think it's very important because they need to look after themselves, especially now in time of the pandemic. It has taught us that health is wealth. It is more important than anything else, and it's something that we should value.
Thank you very much, Alyssa Georgia Felix
Thank you,
from
everyone.
Pampanga.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ivelu Corpus Bourbon from Pangasinan. Hello, Ivelu.
Hi everyone, good afternoon.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Well, my childhood story is like a roller coaster that it is challenging, but at the same time, it is colorful. I experienced bullying. I lost one of the most important person in my life, which is my grandmother, and I grew up independently because my parents are working abroad. But all those life experiences made me of who I am today, and looking back on those experiences, made me realize that I am stronger than who I am, than what I think, and those are the memories that makes me smile. Thank you.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, as I reminisce the memories, I am an internship in United States of America, and I remember my friends and I arrived in the workplace 2 hours before, and that made me realize that not all Filipino practices Filipino time, and it made me smile because we're so excited, and I miss them because we have built a lot of friendship and memories that I want to remind everyone to cherish your friends because they are the treasures of our life. Thank you.
Yes, and we hope that Filipino time is on time. So, Ivelu, women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
This advocacy is for all of us, and as women, we should always educate one another to always see a doctor, consult a doctor about our body, or by simply sharing some advices that we need to take care of our body because our body is the temple of our soul, and that health is wealth. Thank you.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
I'm an advocate of education and I am an active volunteer at an organization in my province. And I am just simply telling them stories that this is what is happening in the world and that we are facing pandemic and this is what we need to do. And in those simple actions, I am making them socially aware and empowering them because I know that I am empowered. That's why I can empower them as well. Thank you.
Lastly, who do you consider your number one role model to be and why?
My number one role model will always be and forever my grandmother because, as what I have said earlier, she is the one who raised me and who taught me on how to become a better and God-fearing person. And that is something that I want to impart to everyone to always treasure your loved ones, your family, because I have not tell her or told her that I love her so much because I am busy working so hard for my future. So tell them I love her and that you love them and that you care for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ivalu Corpus Bourbon from Pangasinan.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Next up, we have Celesta Cortezi from Pasay.
Some problems and I'm going through something, I always go to her place. I would say that would like to inspire women, especially young women, to always take care of their health, to always do their checkups at least yearly. Because if you take care of yourself, you take care of your health, and you can inspire other women to always take care of themselves.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
I would tell this young woman that first of all you have to read. If you read, you will be able to be aware of what's happening in your country and also around the world. And you always have to remember that reading information is key and power.
Lastly, as a Miss Universe Philippines delegate, how do you think this competition is able to positively impact our country as a whole?
I think beauty pageants have a very important role, especially in times like this when we're going through difficulties. And I think that beauty queen is really a symbol of hope for the people. And as beauty queens, we use our platform to uplift other people, to influence and inspire the people around us. And it makes us very powerful and influential.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Celeste Cortezi from Pasay. We're almost there, guys. Next, we have Rachel Nicole Distura from Quezon Province. Microphone.
Hello, hello. Hello. Ayan. Hello po, everyone. Good afternoon. Hi. Hello, Sophie. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
When I was young, I did not grow up with my parents. I grew up with my grandparents and my cousin. And even though I have been abandoned by my father, it did not affect me to be the woman that I am today. I remain strong and steadfast because of the people that have helped me to be who I am today. Strong, persevere, someone who perseveres in life, and it puts a smile on my face because they are the reason of my joy in life.
What is the funniest experience that you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Well, there are a lot of things considering here. My sisters here in Miss Universe Philippines found me sometimes annoying because of my kulitness. I'm a very jolly person and sometimes it annoys them, but for me it is my personality and I just find joy in the simplest things.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Well, as a woman, there is nothing that a woman cannot do in this world. They are a catalyst of positive change, and they are the voice to be the woman that we are today. And women are someone who I look up to in life in times where I have no one to look up to. And I encourage everyone to be positive in life, that no matter how many problems that you encounter or challenges in life, believe that diamonds are made under pressure, and that is you.
For your last question, given the rise of e-commerce, how can these platforms be used for the greater good?
I believe that we have been encouraging everyone to use technology in a better ways, and we can use these platforms for a positive change so that we can connect to people, to broaden our horizons, and to connect to people for our connections to be wider, and this will help us to encourage and make our country to be one of the global countries in the world. Thank you.
Actually, you have one more question.
Oh, okay. I have
Yes.
Yes, okay.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
My advice for her is to simply follow what's in her heart, because I believe everything else will follow. With faith, perseverance, and determination, this is something that has kept me going through life. And without a heart, a mindset, and faith, I don't think that we can go anywhere in life. And this is the advice that I want to give her, this little child, and to continue on pursuing what you are passionate about in life, because in this way, you are empowered. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Grace
you so much,
Angostura.
everyone. Thank you.
Quezon Province.
Thank you.
Ayan. Open the door. Next, we have Francesca Alexin Licanto Daribas from Rojas City.
Hello.
Hello, Pupa.
Hi.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
I like to do a lot of things, so I can't really say what I really do on a daily basis or like what I do every time. But in a nutshell, I'd say I'm a rascal. Up to now, I'm still a rascal. I like to make people happy, and that's what I want to do.
And you have. What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
When I was in grade school, I was told to model our school uniform, but I had diarrhea. So I tried to fart a little bit, but then it was hot, so something came out. And then I had to do the runway, and I was like trying to close my legs. Was that the
No, that wasn't it.
I'm so sorry.
That's the one. Guess somebody was doing the runs in the runway. Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Well, I'm joining this pageant for that advocacy as well. I want to tell the people, also women, that women aren't just women. Women are women. You know, people always say that women are less than men, but we're not. We're actually stronger.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
Keep doing mistakes. Just do you. Do whatever you want to do. Because those mistakes will mold you to become who you will become. And if she's here right now, I'd tell her that you will like who you will become.
And lastly, given the rise of e-commerce, what is your favorite feature, tool, or innovation that you have been able to experience and maximize as an online shopper, and why?
That would be my cell phone, because it's very handy. I can just do whatever I want everywhere. That's it.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Francesca Daribas, Rojas City. Next up, we have Danielle Ariel Cam from San Juan.
Hi guys, how's everybody doing?
Good.
It's good to hear.
So Danny, in a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Okay, one of the funniest stories I can think about right now is my first ever trip to the ER. I was 4 years old, I believe, and my best friend in Kumon gave me this little eraser, and I don't know why I decided to stick it up my nose. I stuck it so far up my nose that I had to get sent to the ER, and they had to suction it out of my nose. So in a nutshell, that is one story from my childhood.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
Ooh, I feel like with my friends, we're always laughing. It's always such a good time just being with them. A particular situation doesn't come to mind. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But it's just always so much fun being with the people I love.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I believe that the first step to encourage other people is to show them that you are doing it yourself. So you do need to lead by action. Thank you.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
To become more socially aware, you do need to get involved with your community more. You do need to read more of the news. You need to care about the things that are happening around you and to step out of your little bubble.
Lastly, how can e-commerce be used as a platform for women empowerment?
You can do that through promoting ads or products that are specifically designed for women to empower them.
Thank you very much, Danielle Campang.
Thank you, guys.
San Juan. Next, we have Maria Katrina Legado from Taguig.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have good news for you. I'm the second to the last candidate, so you're almost done.
That's great news. Okay, Kat. In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
I think on the top of my mind, I want to share to everyone a recent experience that I had. So I was guest in a Latin American show where I was tasked to wear a tanga, a bikini, a carnival queen. So as a very shy Filipina, I was tasked to do it, and I was very much alive and entertained everyone. And if that's something that I would do in Miss Universe, I will do it with much pride.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
One thing that I really remember back in college, whenever we have free time with my college friends, one thing that makes us laugh or a joke on us is that we put a rock, a huge rock in the bag of my friend, and then they'll be like, "What's in my bag? It's so heavy." And then that's a joke, and then we will go to our class, and then their bag is so heavy, and the rock is full of sand, and it's just a joke about us. I think that's something that's very funny.
Women's health and well-being is a major part of the Miss Universe Philippines advocacy this year. How do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
Personally, I've grown into pageantry, and being able to celebrate the transformation of a woman, I think that is something that is truly phenomenal and uniquely beautiful. And as a person who has a lot of flaws, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of insecurities, being able to stand here and showcase that I can do it, I think that is a story that a lot of young girls would really appreciate and be inspired of.
Next, your question is, how important is e-commerce in your life right now?
That is very true to me because I am a online business seller. I have a small business and I sell it on e-commerce, and this is something that is innovation, and we really have to adapt to it. And this is something that create opportunities for Filipino people, and this is something that I would greatly put to them as well and help them achieve their things in life.
And your last question is, what advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and be empowered?
Being in this generation of social media, we are pressed with a lot of challenges. And what I would like to tell a young girl is just to be off everything in social, be in the news, read everything that they can, because this is something that will help them enrich themselves, and in return they will give back to others as well, and that would really inspire and make them socially aware.
Thank you very much, Maria Katrina Ligado.
Thank you so much.
Last, Shane Lynn Bison from Victoria City.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hope all the energy are still there, despite all the girls that you've interviewed.
Thank you for that, Shane Lynn.
Thank you, Sir B.
In a nutshell, tell us your story from childhood to now that puts a smile on your face.
Growing up, I had an incomplete family. I didn't grow up in my biological parents. I grew up in my foster parents, but biologically I'm related to them by blood. But then I grew up with them with a very firm family orientation, really. And it gives me a smile right now because it brings me where I am today, that I am a refined woman and I am standing here in front of you all.
What is the funniest experience you've had with your closest friends or things that make you LOL?
I'm with my friends more often, and the very first thing that I remember that makes me LOL is that I mispronounced the word raspberry, which is supposedly I mispronounced it rather raspberry, which is supposed to be raspberry. So from that moment, I really encouraged myself to read more, to really encourage myself to pronounce the word correctly, for me not to be embarrassed.
I also mispronounced your name the first time,
Shanalyn. It's Shaylin, actually. Yes.
So women's health and well-being is a major part of this year's Miss Universe Philippines advocacy. how do you encourage women to take a more active role in this advocacy?
I believe women, we all have the power to speak and to step up. And in that way, I believe women should be more vocal to express themselves. In that way, we can give an impact not only to the lives of every woman, but also to the next generation and to the whole community as well.
What advice can you give to a young woman for her to become more socially aware and become empowered?
Personally, I advise myself to really listen to your parents, and that is also one advice I could give to young children, young women rather, or young girls, that they should also listen to their parents because their parents knows the best for themselves, and with their parents, they could never go wrong.
And for your last question, can you share with us one of the most interesting products that you have purchased on Lazada, and how has this product played a role in your life as a Miss Universe Philippines delegate?
Okay, I have this one item from Lazada that I purchased. It's a set of makeup brushes. Since here in Miss Universe, we are taught to do our own makeup, and with the help of that set of makeup brushes, I'm able to make myself beautiful in every appearance here in Miss Universe. And I believe that makeup brushes is really a part of being a beauty queen as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shaylin
Thank
Baison, Victoria City.
Thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye. Nice meeting you all.
And at this point, we would like to be, I know a lot of you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today for the Miss Universe Philippines preliminary interviews. We'd like to remind you that tonight is the preliminary
First, we have Grammarly. The free version checks basic spelling and grammar. Grammarly Premium, on the other hand, provides in-depth writing feedback to help you be more clear and concise, and it even gives vocabulary and formatting suggestions. What I love about Grammarly is it works almost everywhere. It's so helpful for me because you can read your paper
Maayong hapon sa tanan. Vanessa Caro, your Miss Universe Philippines 2022 Iloilo Province, and Basta Balita, i-online na yan.
Hi, this is your Ilonggo girl, Sharami Apuli Salosio, your Miss Bikini Philippines 2021 runners-up sa Iloilo. Basta Balita, i-online na yan.
Ako si Sharon Idone sa Iloilo. Basta Balita, i-online na yan.
My name is Christine Lidbongers sa Iloilo. Basta Balita, i-online na yan.
Sa Iloilo, Basta Balita, i-online na